Hello my friends, and today a full-fledged information war has unfolded regarding the incursion of the Russian Freedom Legion into Russian territory. So Putin cannot afford to tarnish his reputation before the elections. So they urgently dispatched journalists to the village of Tetkina in the Kursk region, who painted a picture that nobody even visited them. And in general, the settlement is under the control of the Russian Federation. But now, regarding the actual situation in this settlement, the Russian Freedom Legion has published a video confirming that their vehicles were moving through the village. And yesterday evening, one of the participants made a statement that they are still in the settlement as before.
Другой вопрос, насколько мы действительно задерживаемся на территории Курской и Белгородской области. Но пока что эффект неожиданности был полностью на нашей стороне. Российская армия отступила вглубь, а там полиция какая-то, она вообще впереди всех сбежала, сверкая пятками, потому что они ж привыкли там либо коррупцией заниматься, либо беззащитных пенсионеров и студентов рисовать. Когда люди с оружием заходят, полиция с сопротивляться что-то не спешит. Вот, поэтому, посмотрим, как будет ситуация развиваться дальше. Но на данный момент бои немножко стихли, но ситуация, так, знаете, подвешена. Я думаю, ночь будет непростая в Курской области.
So, now we await the report on how the night passed. It was also clarified that the groups approached from 5 different directions. And on the map, the Russian defense lines are marked. Thus, we can see that they haven't yet reached the defense line, so we await further developments. But in turn, last night, the Russians shelled Kryvyi Rih. Kids landed on a residential building.
Inhumans continue their vile tactics of terrorizing peaceful communities and cities of Ukraine. In the evening, the occupiers launched a missile attack on Kryvyi Rih. At least 3 hits, including a direct hit on a 9-story building and on the roof of a 5-story building. As a result of the enemy attack, as of now, unfortunately, there are 3 dead, 2 women and 1 man. About 40 more people were injured, including 10 children. There are currently 17 wounded adults taken there, including 4 serious and 1 woman in extremely serious condition, as well as 9 children, 1 of them in serious condition. All victims are provided with the necessary assistance. Doctors are fighting for the lives of the wounded.
Now, let's move on to the situation along the front line, starting with the Bakhmut direction. So today, one of the worst situations is in Chasiv Yar, as it's under significant threat. In the latest update, the General Staff officially confirmed that fighting continues in the eastern areas of Chasiv Yar. Occupiers also continue attempts to finally capture Avdiivka and advance in the area of Avdiivka. So the situation is certainly very complex, but the Ukrainian Armed Forces are doing everything possible to stabilize the front line. So in addition to offensive actions, a large number of shelling incidents are recorded in both Chasiv Yar and nearby settlements. In the Avdiivka direction, the occupiers continue intensified shelling of the Ukrainian Armed Forces rear. Strikes are made on Mirnograd, Novohorodivka, and other nearby settlements, so they cannot move forward, suffer significant losses, so they try to work on the rear to weaken the Ukrainian Armed Forces. But as always, civilians suffer as a result. So the number of attacks has also increased, with 22 attacks recorded in the past day. And as before, battles are ongoing for Berdichi, Orlivka and Tonenka. So there have been no changes along the front line, but yesterday evening the Ukrainian Armed Forces reported that the Russians have achieved success again, and we are currently awaiting confirmation of this information. Further south, the occupiers continue fighting for Pervomaysk. As for Nevelsk, no further offensive actions are being observed. Perhaps because the Russians have finally taken control of the village and are now consolidating their position there, so the Ukrainian side doesn't confirm this information at the moment, so we wait for updates. In the direction of Marinka, there is also a large number of shelling incidents in the various areas. So unfortunately, the occupiers are indiscriminately shelling this territory. They have a lot of ammunition and missiles, so they don't spare them. Along the front line, battles are ongoing for Krasnohorivka, Georgiivka, and Novomykhailivka. So there have been 19 attacks in the past day, but significant progress hasn't been made, and the front line remains unchanged. In the direction of Vuhledar, the occupiers continue fighting in the area of Staromayorsk and shelling along the entire front line. However, the Ukrainian Armed Forces successfully hold the defense here, and the front line remains unchanged over the past day. In the direction of Zaporizhia, the occupiers conducted 6 attacks in the area of Verbove and Robotyne. Additionally, airstrikes are targeting the frontline settlements, though the situation is very challenging despite not having the highest number of attacks. And the main problem is the shelling. But the Ukrainian Armed Forces are holding their positions, and the front line remains unchanged over the past day. In the direction of Kherson, according to the General Staff, the occupiers continue their attempts to dislodge the Ukrainian Armed Forces from the left bank. So 3 assaults were recorded in the past day. Also, there is a high volume of shelling on the right bank, primarily from artillery and mortars. Now, let's turn to the direction of Luhansk. In the area of Siversk, the occupiers continue shelling, and battles are raging near Bilohorivka. However, the occupiers have been unsuccessful here for quite some time, so the front line remains unchanged. In the direction of Kreminna, assaults on the village of Terny persist, and shelling continues as usual. The front line also remains stable. In the direction of Kupiansk, the occupiers have resumed attacks on Sinkivka and Tabaivka. 4 attacks have been recorded over the past day, and the battles continue. So there is also a significant amount of shelling along the entire front line and in the rear. However, the front line remains unchanged. The Ukrainian Armed Forces successfully hold their defense and prevent the Russians from advancing quickly towards Kupiansk. Also, today, there is good news from the United States. So, the assistant to the President of the United States for National Security Affairs, Sullivan, announced that Ukraine will receive a new package of military aid. However, there are some nuances.
In the State of the Union last week, that we cannot provide ongoing assistance to Ukraine without significantly impacting our military readiness, absent congressional action. That remains the case despite this modest amount of cost savings that we are putting to use on an urgent basis. Congress must act. The House of Representatives must pass the bipartisan national security supplemental as soon as possible. We all know that if it came up for a vote, it would pass on an overwhelmingly bipartisan basis, just as it did in the Senate. And there is no other way around this. This emergency package that we're announcing contains a large tranche of artillery rounds and GMLRS for the HIMARS. It is assistance that Ukraine desperately needs to hold the line against Russian attacks and to push back against the continuing Russian onslaught in the east and in other parts of Ukraine. This ammunition will keep Ukraine's guns firing for a period, but only a short period. It is nowhere near enough to meet Ukraine's battlefield needs, and it will not prevent Ukraine from running out of ammunition in the weeks to come. It goes without saying, this package does not displace and should not delay the critical need to pass the bipartisan national security bill.
And that's all from me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye-bye.